By now, all delegates to the 8th ACP Summit in Port Moresby will have returned home. For those who visited Papua New Guinea for the first time, they will have, in a small way, confirmed or dispelled perceptions they may have had about Papua New Guinea. But one thing is certain, all were high in their praise for our hospitality and how the summit was staged. This report from Jeheb Akia.
Over the past 3 days, PNG witnessed the largest meetings of foreign nations ever held on its shores. The 8th ACP Summit saw 79 countries from Africa, Caribbean and the Pacific come together for this meeting. The African, Caribbean and Pacific Group of States, or ACP, is a group of countries from Africa, the Caribbean and the Pacific that was created by the Georgetown Agreement in 1975. The group's main objectives are sustainable development and poverty reduction within its member states, as well as their greater integration into the world's economy. All of the member states, except for Cuba, are signatories to the Cotonou Agreement with the European Union. The Cotonou Agreement was signed in Cotonou, Benin in June 2000, of which many small island developing states are members of. The future of the 79 member states will be anchored on a commitment to South-South solidarity and increased effectiveness on the global arena, a streamlined mandate that adds value to global efforts and concrete steps towards financial sustainability. PNG's Foreign Minister Rimbik Patos said this meeting is mainly to deliberate and pave the way for the future of ACP. He welcomed all member countries on behalf of the PNG government and citizens on Monday.
That is a very historical meeting for the ACP group here in Papua New Guinea, and we are very happy and very honored to welcome our friends and brothers and sisters from Africa, the Caribbean and the Pacific at a very important time like this when we need to look at those challenges which are common to us in terms of our development aspirations moving forward.
Leaders convening in PNG for this summit outlined a new outlook for the group based on deliberations on the final report of the ACP Eminent Persons Group, or EPG, as well as the report by the Council of Ministers to the summit. The summit accepted the EPG report, with an implementation plan expected by the end of 2016, subject to further analysis at national and regional levels. The summit also adopted the Port Moresby Declaration that captures the main outcomes of the leaders' discussions, and the Waigani Communique that sets the way forward for the future of ACP Group beyond the expiry of the ACP-EU Cotonou Partnership Agreement in 2020. The President of the 8th ACP Summit and the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea believes this summit has inspired member states to take giant steps in our approach that will shape and transform the ACP Group into a more dynamic force. The Waigani Communique reaffirmed the vision of the ACP Group to take a leading role in the efforts to improve the living standards of its citizens through good governance, promoting trade and investment, particularly at the intra-ACP level. Noting the urgent need for reform in the organization, leaders discussed how to streamline the group's mandate to be more result-oriented and people-focused. This includes restructuring of the Brussels-based ACP Secretariat. The summit also agreed on the need for the group to work towards improving financial self-sufficiency, including the establishment of a long-term endowment fund. This was well summed by the President of Zimbabwe, Dr. Robert Mugabe, on the need for ACP nations to move away from donor mentality.
It therefore becomes most imperative for the ACP to ensure that the EPAs fully embrace the needs and interests of our countries and peoples. Honorable Prime Minister, we note that development finance has constituted a critical lifeline of the ACP-EU partnership for over 40 years, but has regrettably created a typical donor-recipient relationship and the reviled dependency syndrome. while we have continued to be producers and exporters of primary products, while we are appreciative of such provided financial support we have continued to receive from our European Union partners, it has increasingly become clear that financial self-sufficiency should be our new modus operandi.
Key concerns of the ACP Group is the upcoming negotiations on the follow-up partnership framework with the European Union. Current relations between Africa, Caribbean and Pacific countries and the EU bloc in terms of trade, political dialogue and development cooperation are governed by the ACP-EU Cotonou Partnership Agreement. As the expiration of the agreement approaches in 2020, negotiations to shape a post-Cotonou partnership are expected to begin in 2018. The summit expressed its determination to renew and enhance the ACP-EU partnership with a legally binding agreement, building on the experiences and gains obtained under the Cotonou Partnership Agreement. Mr. O'Neill said the summit in Port Moresby is the beginning of many other conferences to come. He said climate change is one of the major issues that ACP has to pursue, as well as the empowerment of women and the reduction of poverty.
But I think one of the greatest challenges that we face together is climate change. This covers areas beyond the rising sea levels alone. Papua New Guinea has recently experienced our worst ever drought in many parts of the country. Of course, we have also experienced unusually high levels of rainfall. Island nations in our region, such as Fiji and Vanuatu, have experienced in the last couple of years multiple devastating cyclones. In our region, it is long established that climate patterns have undergone dramatic change, often having very disastrous consequences for our coastal communities and, of course, inland areas alike. International progress on addressing climate change has been too slow. We must insist that the Paris Agreement of 2015 is fully implemented. Again, let me take this opportunity to thank you for your attendance at this 8th Summit of the ACP leaders. And it provides, and of course, you for providing the support that is going to be necessary to propel the ACP group beyond 2020. And again, I wish you all the successes.
After 3 days of meetings, Mr. O'Neill officially declared the 8th African, Caribbean, Pacific Governments and Leaders Summit closed yesterday afternoon. The summit ended on a high note, with many different closed meetings to discuss various issues of mutual concern and how to elevate ACP members to be forces to be reckoned with on the international stage. Many government heads praised PNG and the Prime Minister for a well-organized meeting over the 3 days. The Prime Minister thanked all member countries who accepted the invitation to attend these meetings. He said the summit has been fruitful, in which many important issues of concern were addressed. The two important documents, the Port Moresby Declaration and the Waigani Communique, were the highlights in the course of these meetings. Other smaller one-on-one meetings were also held outside of the main event, between countries who had issues to discuss amongst themselves. He said PNG's doors would always be open for them if they wished to visit either for business or pleasure. Once all other nations had their say, the Prime Minister officially declared the 8th ACP Summit closed.
Hey, hello, please.
Some ACP leaders like the Zimbabwe President left on Tuesday, while the rest of the members will be leaving PNG beginning today and onwards. Outcomes of the meetings will be forwarded to the United Nations Secretary General, the President of the European Council, ACP regional integration organizations, as well as other international bodies and all development partners. The next ACP meeting will be held in 2018.
Jeheb Akia reporting. This is PNG Tonight. Stay with us for more after the break.